Hello, guys. Welcome to another episode of the Weekly Feedback. I'm your host, Caveman PRDR, and today I wanted to cover some topics. Some don't really have any notable glitches or anything this week to cover, so we'll talk about some other things. First, we'll lead off with Destiny 2 being at the current top 5 most played on Steam for games by concurrent players. This was posted by Destiny Tracker on April 5th, 2023. Um, you can see the current players was 105K. The peak players was 254 with 90 million hours played. Um, you can also look and see that they had said across all platforms over a million players play PvE activities yesterday and over 800K in PvP. I don't know how they quite found all the information for this or where. Okay, so they have a graphic right here that says that. Now, I don't know exactly where you pull this information from, but it is nice to see across all platforms the 850K people playing Crucible. Granted, like obviously they aren't just queuing up match after match. This is probably like somewhere between the 1 to 3 to get it done. So it's still pretty good. Obviously, PVE doing really well. PVE is still really good quality, regardless of whether or not if people enjoyed the storyline for the Lightfall campaign. But yeah, population looking good. Top 5 in the active games. That includes being behind CS:GO or CS:GO 2, Dota 2, PUBG, and Apex. So right up there with the heavy hitters. Next, we'll talk about. I think we're going to talk about trials here a little bit. Right now, obviously, I guess we're just. I guess I'm just going to like take this time to kind of cover the meta. Right now we're in a place where aggressive frame SMGs are the meta, specifically ones that have rangefinder. And I know last week we covered how rangefinder increases things like damage fall off, and it also increases zoom, and that kind of stuff has an effect on stability with the weapons and whatnot. But obviously, you can see here comp usage for PvP. Immortal and Immortal Adept are the top two. Ikelos SMG is the third. Heck, when I've been playing Trials, I've been running double primary. I've literally ran Immortal and then like Phylotactic Spiral, or I've been running Horror's Least for my energy slot. I've been doing that on PK Titan. It's been uh, it's been kind of a fun time to run double primary. I haven't missed not having a shotgun that much. When I play Warlock or Hunter, I'll throw a shotgun on, and I'll probably use different weapons. But right now, PK Titan is just so free. It is interesting to see Cloud Strike up here, and from what I had played during trials, I saw a little bit of Cloud Strike. Well, maybe more than a little bit. I saw a good bit of Layman Arc. Um, but you could almost guarantee there was an SMG in every trials match you played last weekend. I saw a very uncomfortable amount of Jotun. I'm not sure why people are using Jotun, considering Jotun's not good, in my opinion. It's good when you're shooting it at someone that doesn't see you or doesn't know that you're there. So I'm a little confused by the Jotun usage, but you know what? If they need like the 2% tracking that it does to help them get a kill, okay, cool, whatever, it doesn't matter. I guess I should just be glad that it's not 6 rapid fire fusion frames sitting up above it in the slots. No time to explain. I feel like I didn't see it that much, but it deserves to be up here on the list just because of how strong it's been. Ace of Spades and Rose. I definitely saw a good bit of both during trials. I think I used Ace of Spades for like a round or two. I don't remember how much I used Rose, but those are very fairly common. There was a setup I did where I was using Autumn Wind and Ikelos SNG. So yeah, pretty much right now we're in a place where the SMGs are dominant, and they pair very well with a sniper or a bow. So that way you can have the CQC and the long distance fighting covered. You can see Beloved's up there. I'd skipped on Beloved earlier, or reading out Beloved. But it seems like an SMG snipe meta for the current time being. Aggressive frames are supposed to be getting nerfed in Season 21. We shall see how that affects their usage rates. The burnout. Alright, so kind of just looked over here and saw the weapons. And we see stats for the weekend. There was an up in players from last weekend, decrease in, or I guess the increase in total players, decreases in matches, decrease in weapon kills, decrease in kills in general, decrease in flawless players, and decrease in flawless characters. Obviously, we see SMGs have nearly 3 times the kills of the next weapon type, which was hand cannons. 25% SMG kills in all of trials. That's cause for concern when in its effective range, it's pretty much borderline overwhelmingly the best to use, and the usage shows it. I do want to say this. Usage rates have merit, but it's not always the be-all, end-all. Because I promise, if they nerf SMGs hard, you're going to see sidearms shoot up, and we're going to be seeing more fusion rifle kills because of rapid fire frames, in my opinion. I think we're going to see a little bit more rapid fire frames because they're supposed to kill all Guardians in 7 bolts out of, I think they shoot out 9, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong on that. But they upped the damage to where at any result 7 out of 9 bolts kill. Sidearms are still very good. There's just not a lot of usage rate for them. But as a hand cannon shoddy player, you run up on someone that's using a sidearm in their distance, and you tell me how good of a time you're gonna have, because I can tell you're not gonna have that good of a time. But anyway, I'm expecting sidearm usage to come up. I'm kind of surprised it's even behind AR usage, but pretty much my comments for that much as far as trials goes this week. Moving right along to the dev blog, reflecting on Lightfall, Launch and Beyond, Destiny 2 dev team. So basically, it's been a little over since Lightfall is released, and they're taking, this is basically a dev blog made in response to our feedback so far. Ranking up, they talk about Guardian ranks and commendations, and how those pair together and how they are individually. Then right below that, they talk about meeting our goals. So they're changing up things from season to season with the Guardian ranks. I'm not going to go over this too much because I personally don't care about it that much. Forever 6 is the next part of this. If I'm not mistaken, from what I'd watched Astrocross's video on this, I think they had said that whatever the highest Guardian rank you get for the season, that number is supposed to show up for you next season. And the goal of the following season, like, let's say we're this character, and we get Guardian rank 9 this upcoming season. Or this season that we're currently on. The following season, which is Season of the Deep, apparently that Guardian rank 9 is supposed to be there. But it's going to be up to you or it's going to show that you're Guardian rank 9, but you need to make your Guardian rank for whatever it is that season at least 9 for Season of the Deep in order to retain that number Guardian rank for the following season, which is Season 22, you either need to make it rank 9 or a higher rank to keep that bragging right, I guess. Truthfully, I don't like the Guardian rank system that much. It's not bad at all. I think its main purpose is just to show Guardians what, more so the new lights, what they're supposed to do and how they're kind of supposed to progress in the game. I think that's just the main important stuff of it. Once you've played enough Destiny 2, you kind of have the knowledge of what you need to do from going forward. Once you've really played to the point that you've gotten to in-game activities, like I've done GMs. I haven't done all of them, but I've done a good bit of GMs now. I've done a good bit of just normie raids. I kind of have the general idea of what I need to do, so the Guardian rank system doesn't really help me at all, but it's good for the people need uh that need the tasks and aren't self-sustaining to the point that I am. Commendable objectives, they're changing a little bit more for commendations. They're adding a best dressed commendation, so you could commendate someone on your team or someone on the enemy team. You're like, man, that Guardian looks really good. Let's give them best dressed. Um, I'm not really going to go over too many more of the commendation changes. Um, Difficulty adjustments, and in this part they go over what we went over last week with enemy HP scalars being reduced by 10% in Legend and Master activities. Um, then they talk about Legend Avalon. I'm not going to go over all that again. Heist Battlegrounds. I will go over this. The Heist Battleground Mars, they decrease how often combatant waves spawn on higher difficulties in the tower phases, increase map score multiplier to help players reach score goals without exploiting, and they add additional ammo crate there. Other Heist Battleground changes, they reduce frequency and numbers of some combatants' wavelengths at all bosses, reducing the health of the Death Tongue choristers. However, runes are now the same health on all difficulties, and thinning out the fallen trip mines in the Heist Battleground Moon. Neomuna patrols. Basically, they want to make enemies a little bit harder to kill there. They increase the spawn rate of Vex Strike Force event in the Vex Incursion Zone. This isn't something I've actually participated in that much. Apparently, it's a way to get exotics. I've heard that the drop is not as good as I originally thought, but something to keep note of. Partition activities are now replayable each week after you earn your initial Pinnacle Power reward. I don't know if that's necessarily a good thing because generally I'm just doing it for the one and done, but hey, you know what? It's a feature now. Reduce rate that rank and file red bar enemies are replaced by tougher elite orange bar enemies. So there's going to be more stronger enemies. Reduce the spawn rate of turrets, specifically in the Hezma Park. So that might be good because turrets are annoying to play against. In a future patch, certain patrols will be easier to complete. When they say certain patrols, I kind of just assume the gold patrols. I could be wrong. Specifically, the ones where you have to go kill an orange bar or whatever. I could be wrong about that. Terminal overload. They talk about the terminal overload activity and the change that they brought to it probably a few weeks ago, where they announced where the terminal overload activity is supposed to more reliably matchmake to you with people who are already participating in that event. They talk about lost sectors here, and specifically the levels of frustration that have been brought to it, as lost sectors have kind of been the way to get the new exotics for ever since Beyond Light. Doing Legend and Master lost sectors have been the way to unlock the new exotics, and because people are getting frustrated with bad RNG for not really getting what you want or not getting the exotic that you want, they're going to be listing some changes down below to help mitigate that. Threshers right here, they talk about how strong they were before, and they've decreased the strength of the Threshers now, so that's good. Vanguard scoring and reputation. There's going to be some changes over here regarding this. While it's still early to tell if Vanguard scoring bonuses are tuned to our like, and we have a few things to discuss. With Lightfall, we returned the score multiplier of Master and Grandmaster from 2 to 2.2 and 2.5 to 1.7 and 2 to make a scoring curve from Hero to Grandmaster smoother. While this makes for a better play experience where every strike can feel time equivalent to others for rep gain at the same difficulty, any pursuit that use single instance scoring needed to be adjusted to account for this. In a future patch, we will take a pass at low map score multipliers and individual objectives to make sure everything feels better, specifically Guardian ranks, Nightfall scoring objectives, and Dares of Eternity bounties. Add a throttle to prevent certain exploits as an optimal score strategy. After Season 20 concludes, we plan on doing a full review of Vanguard scoring over the entire season and may have other things for tuning to make. Alright, now down below we talk about exotic armor drop rates. These are supposed to be a little bit better during lost sectors, and really it's still not good enough. Some of it's going to be changed. Increase the exotic drop rates for both Legend and Master lost sectors. Lost sectors aren't the only source in town in an upcoming update. The Strike Force event in the Vex Incursion Zone will drop a new piece of exotic armor if you have any left to collect, on a knockout list with no slot limits like lost sectors have. If you don't have any exotic armor left to collect, it will drop a random exotic roll. Upcoming in Season 21, they have some things down below. New build crafting updates, which include 2 new armor mods, which are Powerful Attraction, which is going to be the new orbs version of Seeking Wills. So you're going to be basically getting Seeking orbs. When you use your class ability, you collect all orbs of power within a radius determined by the number of copies of the mod you have equipped. So I guess the more powerful attraction you have, the more orbs can come to you. Elemental charges, collecting the subclass collectible associated with your damage type, Fire Sprite, Sonic Traces, Stasis Shards, Void Breaches, has an escalating chance to grant you a stack of armor charge on Strand. This is granted by destroying Tangles. That's a really good change. I think Osmiomancy Shadebinder when using, I think Glacial Harvest, if I'm not mistaken. But basically, whenever you pick up the leftover stasis crystals, or the shards, the leftover stasis shards, sorry, not the crystals. Whenever you pick those up, there used to be a mod where you would become charged with light in the column 4 of the old armor system. And it looks like we're going to be kind of sort of getting this back. So I think this will be good. Yeah, looking forward to that and see how impactful elemental charges can be. Shoot to loot can be used to loot orbs of power now. Right below that, they talk about the third strand aspect for each class. Well, they give the name of it. They don't really talk about it per se. Titan's going to get Fletched Storm, Hunter's going to get Threaded Spectre, and Warlock's going to get the Wanderer. Below that is Artifact Perk refunds. So basically, they're trying to make it to where, from what I understand, in Season 21, they're going to make the ability to refund each individual artifact perk instead of resetting the entire thing. So that way you can build craft faster, basically. So that's a good change. If we're only going to have 12 out of 20 something unlocked, that's an excellent change. Season ritual schedule. They want to run They want trials to be able to be ran week 1 since we're not getting an increase in power level. We will. You don't get me wrong. You're still gonna want to do your prep because the whole point of doing the prep is to get a step ahead for whenever you get the seasonal artifacts. That way you can boost your artifact and get the mods in it. So you don't want to just completely neglect doing seasonal prep. If you're one of those that is actually interested in doing that, don't neglect your season prep. Just basically know that we're not getting an increase in power level at the start of next season. And they want to run Trials of Osiris week 1. Week 4, they want to make GMs available. So, in my opinion, maybe these are good changes. It's like, for the sake of acquiring the loot that are in these activities and having more time to be able to get them, sure, it's a good change. I don't really know how to feel about it just yet, but we'll get there when we get there. Below that is armor focusing, exotic armor focusing, adding exotic armor focusing to Rahul in Season 21 when this goes live. All exotic engrams aside from drops from activities that award exotics will no longer auto-decrypt. These will sit in your engram inventory and can be focused at 2 different tiers. So there's going to be the normie focused decoding where it looks like it's going to be based off of what DLC or what season that the exotic released. and there's going to be a cost for one exotic engram, 30,000 glimmer, and one ascendant shard. It's also going to be it's going to be it's going to be based off of the engram is going to be based off of two things. It's going to be based off of what I guess what slot it is, what armor slot it is, and then what DLC it came from. And then there's going to be an advanced decryption, or there's going to be a precision decryption, where you're going to be able to look at the entire pool, and you're going to be able to focus a specific one, where you get one, where you use to spend one exotic engram, 60k glimmer, 3 shards, and 1 cipher. In my opinion, that's pretty costly, considering you're going to have to use 3 shards just to completely masterwork it anyway. So, I don't know. Maybe they'll consider bringing this cost down a bit, because ascendant shards are expensive to those who don't do in-game activities. So, the exotic cipher, it does say that it's going to cost an exotic cipher, so they're increasing the exotic cipher stack limit from 1 to 5, which is a very good change, especially if they're going to implement this system. And below that is more to come. We also have several more updates. I think you'll love incoming Season 21, but we're saving details for closer to the reveal of the season. A preview of a few. We're upgrading more than 15 of our lower performing exotics and rolling out balance changes to several others. So, Vesper of Radius, you're on the clock. We'll have some exciting news for players who enjoy improving their raid and dungeon exotic drop chances through triumphs. We're taking a pass at team unfriendly Vanguard bounties requiring specific weapons or ability kills and more. And that's going to be that dev blog, which I will throw a link to down below. And then we have This Week at Bungie, reflecting on Lightfall. So this is the mentions that article, Who Wants to Be Conqueror. So basically this is where they announced that the Conqueror seal will be available this upcoming week for players to earn, because this upcoming week is where Grandmasters becomes available. And then they talk a little bit more about the details for GMs down below, which includes your power level caps at 25 levels below the activity for Season 20. That means combatants will be at 1840, but you will be at 1815 at the most. So that means you need to be at least at 1815. You probably should be at least at 1815 before you start doing any GMs. I plan on doing some GMs with friends before the season's over, and just to see how it goes, how the builds are going to hold up. Let's see. Just below that, they talk about Heist Battleground Mars and other things that we just talked about earlier. Right below that, they talk about the strand weapons and how they're basically planning on adding more strand weapons to the game. There are new strand weapons in the oven. So below this, they talk about weapons entering and leaving certain places or certain activities, including Nightfalls. Mindbender's Ambition and Militia's Birthright are leaving. Goodbye to both of you. I didn't really care about having either of you in the loot pool to begin with. Militia's Birthright is literally just another blinding nade launcher. Mindbender's Ambition was just like the biggest disappointment of a shotgun return ever, arguably. Maybe it's a little bit better now that there's a fixed reticle, but I could not care. Trials of Osiris, the Inquisitor Arc, Precision Slug Shoddy, and Whistler's Whim are going to be coming out of the rotation. Your last chance to get an Adept Inquisitor will be the week of May 9th, I believe. So that'll be your last chance to get an Adept Inquisitor. Below that, the Wizened Rebuke and the Hero's Burden are leaving the Iron Banner rotational playlist. And Rose is leaving the comp playlist at the end of the season. So, if you haven't gotten your Rose roll yet, highly recommend doing your 3 matches of comp every week, and do your best to get one while this is still available, because it's going to be, according to a previous dev blog, they said that Rose was going to be temporarily vaulted. I don't know exactly what they plan on doing with it. I kind of hope that they're going to make a competitive focused tab, or make a tab where the previous seasonal competitive weapons or competitive weapon drops would be available to Focus, and they're like a plus 25 to a plus 50% more material cost because the quality of the weapons are obviously really good. It's Rose, so you need to throw some more extra cost behind it. But hopefully they can make it where you can Focus Rose rolls for Crucible Engrams or something like that. I don't know. That would be a good idea in my opinion. Weapons entering the loot pool for Nightfall include Braytech Osprey and Loaded Question. Braytech Osprey is a void high impact rocket launcher. Loaded Question is a arc high impact fusion rifle. Vanguard positive outlook. Void precision AR. That's just going to be the normie strike drop. Gambit's going to be getting a strand linear fusion. Could be interesting. Crucible's going to get Randy's throwing knife back as the normal Crucible drop. Kinetic rapid fire scout rifle used to be a really sought after weapon during its olden days, so that's going to be a reprise. Trials of Osiris is getting an arc glaive, and the Messenger is also going to be returning. I actually did not see this coming at all. I kind of just assumed it would be two new weapons, so I was very surprised to see the Messenger on here as a returning weapon. So that's going to be one that I'm going to be looking forward to getting, especially in Adept role, and see what kind of perks it can come back with. I think Astrocross said that it'd be kind of cracked if it had Keep Away on it. I think it can currently get Headseeker, or I think currently in its perk pool it can have Headseeker, so you can kind of get that Phylotactic Spiral roll where you get Keep Away and Headseeker together. That's just speculation. We'll see what the new rolls for it can be. Iron Banner Strand Fusion Rifle and a Swarm of the Raven, which is going to be a Void Rapid Fire Heavy GL, and then comp we're going to be getting another Arc Sniper Rifle. So I think that'll be interesting to see what comes along. Below that is a section for cutscenes. So basically, they have a YouTube channel and they're throwing in cutscenes for seasons in this little archive. And they said they plan on adding more. They just had some to add here for now. Then they talk about the Prime gaming rewards, Spring Showers exotic emote, the Arrow of Time exotic ship, which actually looks really cool. I'm gonna be honest. The Grey Tiger Shell, Legend Ghost, and the Velvet Intention legendary shader. That ghost is actually kind of sick. Not ghost, sorry. That ship is kind of sick. I may actually try to get that. Player support and report down below. They talk about Root of Nightmares, Raid Jacket, the D2 Armory Collection, and then known issues down below that. The D2 Armory Collection, which includes Forsaken Pack and the 30th Anniversary, does not include instant unlock of items or exotics outside of what is listed directly for each pack. Players who already own the Forsaken Pack will not be granted bonus Forsaken ciphers from purchasing the Armory Collection. So that's just previous DLC stuff that you can buy now. Known issues listed down below that. And below the known issues is more artwork and the movie of the week, which included a world's first solo Nazareth activity. And that's going to be it for this week's episode of the Weekly Feedback. If you have any questions or comments, let me know in the comment section down below. Thank you, and as always, have a good one.